is some of the greatest stuff I've ever heard. Ooh.
These go to 11.
Here at TWRS, we're always here to help our squad when they need a little push in the right direction. That's just who we are. We're a beautifully diverse group of goofballs dedicated to driving fake race cars as fast as possible. And we continue to push each other to the front using the power of nonsense. We have one of the strongest NASCAR programs on the service, and you can access it all for $24.99 a month. And we just released individual subscriptions for $14.99 a month for each NASCAR vehicle. We also just added a rallycross program, and our IndyCar program is taking off as well. So come join the weird side. We have speed and cookies. Cookies are not included in some locations.
If you love the thrill of racing but hate the risks, then buckle up. Everything Simulated is here to merge adrenaline with absolute safety. In a world where technology meets adrenaline, Everything Simulated is revolutionizing driver training with state-of-the-art simulators. From truck training to the thrill of motorsports, our simulators offer the most realistic experiences across all automotive applications. Gone are the days of endless bookwork and basic drills. Now it's all about hands-on, pulse-pounding action that prepares you for the real deal. Whether you're maneuvering a heavy mining vehicle or racing a high-speed car, our simulators, equipped with cutting-edge technology from leaders like SimRigs and TrackRacer, bring every nuance of the drive to life. And talk about making a mark. We're not just building simulators, we're fostering talent. From grassroots motorsports to professional series like the Aussie Outlaw GT3, sponsored by us, Everything Simulated is fueling dreams and careers. Ready to feel the excitement of the racetrack under your fingertips? Connect with us, and let's build your next simulator adventure together. Remember, we support those who support us. Join the Everything Simulated family, and let's race towards the future.
Welcome to the Mid-Ohio Sports Car Course in Lexington, Ohio for the Southern Thunder Truck Series. Boy, do we have a treat for you here tonight. I'm Sean Signoria here with my buddy James Watson, our reporter on the move, who will be in the mix with these guys tonight. How you doing, buddy? Ready to get after it? Try to win one of these for us?
Yes, sir. Although I'm gonna need some things to happen if I'm gonna bring home the dub. If things happen, then that will happen. But I don't know if the things are gonna happen, so that might not happen.
Well, things are gonna happen out here tonight. Tonight will certainly be interesting. Mid-Ohio is one of the most prestigious road courses, as you know, James. You're from not that far from here, and it's pretty tight. You know, you get through those, 5, 6, 7. It's a one groove racetrack, so I think we're gonna see some beating and banging.
Yeah, it's gonna be mostly survival. Like, you're gonna see probably a lot of aggression through turn 1 and through the keyhole up in turn 2 and then down into 5. But outside of that, like, unless you're really brave, or you've got a great run or someone makes a mistake, you're gonna be single file through the S's at China Beach and definitely single file through Thunder Valley.
Here are our race facts tonight. As we said earlier, our location, Lexington, Ohio, not that far from Columbus. That's why it's called Mid-Ohio. 2.24 miles around, 33 laps. Not going to be that too long of a race tonight. Almost a sprint race for these guys. Pit speed's 45 miles an hour. We got 100% fuel, 4 sets of tires, and it's going to be open setup. James, how many laps of fuel are you looking at in your truck right now?
So it's weird because I think it's going to be around 27, 28. Although right now it's telling me more like 31. So we'll see about that.
Oh, I like the instability. I like the not knowing what's going on with that fuel gauge. So I think it's going to be a theme for everybody tonight. Fuel mileage is kind of hard to get on these road courses. As we look at our standings, Brad Newman been running away with this thing for a moment. He's got a 54-point lead over Ruben Phelps in the 86. Matty Raymond in third. Lachlan Urquio in fourth. And Brian Blundell in fifth. James, what are you thinking about Brad getting 54 points on Rubens now? You think that's something Rubens can catch up with?
Well, this is still a long season, so 54 points with as many races as we still have left to go, that's kind of nothing. Although, Brad's had an absolutely incredible run of form, so it's gonna be difficult, especially with the pace Brad has tonight.
We're riding on board with Tom Pritchard there as he's going to go down to turn 2. Qualifying has just started for these guys. We're going to have a little bit of about a minute and a half, 2 minutes before we start seeing some lap times come in. James, I see you're out there on the track now, going almost through Thunder Valley right now. We saw this play a role last weekend in the IndyCar race with Alex Palou running off right here, so it's got a little bit of recent history.
Yeah, of all the corners on the IndyCar schedule, this might be the most difficult, and this is still, keeping the corkscrew in mind, because you're basically having, you have that big hill, that big elevation change right as you're getting on the power, and you're driving very high-powered machinery, which really doesn't like to throttle up over inclines and whatnot. So trying to do that and keep the tires under you, and more importantly, keep your rear under you, that's going to be difficult. And, that's with cars that are, have downforce and proper suspension designs, not a truck with some of the most rudimentary suspension systems you will ever come across. So, yeah, Thunder Valley is going to be an interesting point during tonight's race, that is for sure.
And we saw a couple of the other trucks come on through there. We're watching Ryan Barber go around right now. I'm sorry, this is Andy Barber in the 5 truck. Finished second last week Daytona, running side by side with his son Ryan. Coming down, this is going to be one of the passing zones we're going to be paying attention to tonight, down to turn 5. Big braking zone. You come down and take a hard right turn, and it's a little bit off camber, so it's sometimes hard to get to that apex. With the immediate left following it, sometimes you can hang around on that outside and take away the line going into the second turn there.
Yeah, but you're gonna need some bravery for that, because like you're gonna be having an uphill battle just trying to keep control of your truck, let alone trying to make a pass and monitor where someone else's truck is with you.
It's Brian Blundell here in the 86. Had a good run going last week at Daytona. Got caught up in a wreck towards the end of that race, but he was up front leading some laps. Good to see him up in front. When he could take advantage of a plate track like Daytona, maybe he's got something for these guys tonight underneath the road course. Our first times are coming in. Up on the board right now, P1 is Andy Barber. We saw him going around, and he's coming off, like we said earlier, a second place finish last week. He's going to clock in with a 29.5. About 0.2 quicker than Lachlan Urquio. He's going to be in second right now. Watching that 7.77 here, it's Kelvin Clark out of Australia. Is going to come out and try to complete a second lap. Went off on his first lap, didn't count it. It's always a little bit of a drag on iRacing, and you take an off track, nullifies your lap, even though you probably lost time doing it. It's cost me many qualifying spots here on the road courses. I'm sure James would agree with me.
I don't want to talk about it.
James coming across for his second lap is going to gain a position. Going to be 0.3 off of Andy J in third.
I'll blow her up.
Well, at least you did after the finish line. Don't want to do it before. We're watching Blundell here going through the infamous turn 5 and 6, as we described earlier, one of the passing zones of the racetrack, and we're coming down now into Thunder Valley. Very, very technical course. It is off camber most of these corners, and your brakes, you're sliding. Just now in practice, I was all over the place. Couldn't keep the truck on the track underneath the braking. It was very, very slick. So I think we're going to be seeing a big spread tonight quickly. Some of these guys riding away and some of these guys really struggling, slipping around. This is one of those tracks that naturally you don't want to get off track or get offline. It is a one-groove racetrack through much of this place. Very technical, very precise. Watching Ruben Phelps here, last year's champion, coming out here to set down a qualifying lap. He's got plenty of time to do it. Still 4 minutes left in this qualifying session. Ruben's one of the better guys in this series, as we see week in, week out, running up front, making moves, in contention to win most of these races. He comes across the line 1/10 slower than Andy J. Believe that's going to be his second lap. And here comes out last week's winner, Ryan Barber. This 05 truck looking much like his father's number 5. He's always got the gray, his father's in the red. I'm sure that's always been a little bit of point of confusion for you, James, the two trucks that look alike.
Not with these two. You know, there's enough with the different colors to differentiate it fairly easily. There's another team that tends to run these leagues that are a bit harder to ascertain.
No, yeah, I was kind of just joking with you because all the TWS trucks look the same. It's just a different color. The different colors make it easy.
Exactly.
Yeah, these guys have the same hood look. It messes with me sometimes, especially with the names being so similar. But as we see Ryan come across, he's going to be about 1.5 seconds off his dad. Kind of a little bit of a sloppy lap there last time. I'm sure he's got a little bit more in the bank. What about you, James? You think this guy's going to be someone you're going to have to compete with for the win tonight?
Absolutely. I competed against him pretty hard for 4th place at Lime Rock a couple weeks ago, so I know that he's absolutely going to be one to watch. As we see, Brad Newman is about to finish his second lap. His first lap did not count. So let's see what the 33 has.
A lot of pressure on this lap. When the first one doesn't count, he's going to come across the line. for the pole. Wow, a whole second and a tenth quicker than Andy J. 25.3. That is a statement lap there by Brad Newman. I think he's going to be somebody everybody's going to be chasing tonight.
Yeah, that's just absolutely unreal. It's not even fair. All right, well, I think we're going to go ahead and take our first ad break of the night, and at the end of it, we'll get to our starting grid.
Here at TWRS, we're always here to help our squad when they need a little push in the right direction. That's just who we are. We're a beautifully diverse group of goofballs dedicated to driving fake race cars as fast as possible. And we continue to push each other to the front using the power of nonsense. We have one of the strongest NASCAR programs on the service, and you can access it all for $24.99 a month. And we just released individual subscriptions for $14.99 a month for each NASCAR vehicle. We also just added a rallycross program, and our IndyCar program is taking off as well. So come join the weird side. We have speed and cookies. Cookies are not included in some locations.
Welcome back to Mid-Ohio. These guys are gridding up here. We got 33 laps of high-packed action coming at you guys tonight. Brad Newman on the pole with a big statement lap there, 25.3. He's going to be a second and a tenth quicker than Andy J starting second. In third is going to be Ruben Phelps in that 06 truck, and Lachlan Urquio in fourth. Fifth's going to be our reporter in the race, James Watson, in his 39 Blue Thunder machine. And in sixth place is going to be the number 6, Tom Pritchard. Ryan Barber, last week's winner, is going to be starting 7th. And Brian J. Blundell, 8th. And 9th's going to be the 777, Kelvin Clark. And 10th's going to be Tim L. Blundell in the 4 truck. And our last row tonight's going to be Brenton Henderson in 11th. And Noddy Tompkins, coming in 12th. Oh, I'm sorry, we got a couple more out here. Angus Sweeney starting in 13th in the 45, and Mark Grocut in the 73. And that's going to round out our starting grid tonight. As we see our track facts, our track configuration is going to be the full course here. 2.21 miles around. We got a little bit of a discrepancy with the track. Usually it's pretty hot here in the summer, but tonight's the track temp is only going to be 89 degrees Fahrenheit. The air temp is 72, but it's still pretty slick out there no matter how cool this track gets. A little bit of wind for these guys to deal with as well. James, do you think that wind's going to have any effect on tonight?
We'll see. It depends on how bad it's blown around getting down to turn 5, one of the major and honestly the hardest braking zone. Well, wait, we're driving the full course? I thought we were doing the right-hand turning oval. Man, I was lied to.
Yeah, that'd be a lot of fun. One day, James, one day.
One day.
Our dreams
Do
of
it for
chaos.
the All-Star race.
Yeah. long pace lap here, but we're going to get going here very, very shortly. 33 laps. Not going to be too long of a race, but I'm sure these guys are going to be going from the start. James, what's your strategy here under the pace lap? You got any sort of pit strategy that you're thinking about? You think you're going to try to save it and go the whole way? What's going through your head right now?
Honestly, I don't know what's going to be on offer. So I'm just going to basically survive as long as I can here and just see what unfolds. And just try to survive for the first few laps and then see where I'm at after.
Well, good luck to you, man. My advice to you, starting 5th, you got 4 trucks ahead of you. I think you'll be able to get up there and at least try to stick with Brad. I think that's going to be your main goal here, is to get around some of these guys in front of you. Try to stick with Brad. I think he's going to have the pace. He's going to pull away here. And that's just me talking as the crew chief. You be the driver tonight, I'll be the crew chief. How about that?
I misunderstood you at first. I'm like, starting 5th. I'm like, this isn't a next-gen numpty. I only got 4 gears.
Yeah. Well, it would make it interesting for us here in the booth if you started in the wrong gear, just saying.
I'm not doing that again.
That's what we've all said at one point, as we see Brad and Andy side by side. Only got a couple more corners. Your pace car is going to be pulling off. Make sure to like and subscribe. We can use anything we can to boost ourselves up that YouTube algorithm, and liking and subscribing would help us dearly as we come through the final turns. Brad Newman's going to be set to take that green flag as they come through the keyhole. Green flag is out. We are underway here. 33 laps at Mid-Ohio coming to you side by side. Andy J is going to actually lead at the line. Side by side into one. They're going to be tight. They're going to be close as Brad's able to clear him coming off of turn 1 here. Lachlan Urquio got a little bit in that grass, got a little sideways. Andy making a move going down to turn 2. He's going to stick his nose in there. A little bit of contact here. Lap 1. But coming off turn 2, Brad Newman's going to be pulling away. They are side by side behind him. That's Lachlan Urquio, and our reporter in the race, James Watson, trying to get the run down the straightaway here. I think he's going to get back in line, maybe even make a move inside going into 5 as we see Brad.
Whoa, what the?
Whoa, Ruben Phelps misses the braking point. We got a truck in the dirt there. It's going to be Lachlan Urquio. Looked like maybe even a little bit of contact from James there as they all stacked up in front of him. Looked like looking back at it that Ruben Phelps might have missed the brakes. Maybe locked up a little bit. As you see, he gets on the curb there, and there's a little bit of a stack up. Oh, he just locked up the rears there, sent him sideways. Got up on that curb. Maybe even got a little air. Ended up in the middle of the track and on the brakes. Lachlan Urquio tried to check up for him, and James was right behind him, but nowhere to go. Just one of those things that happens here at Mid-Ohio. First lap going into turn 5. Everybody's stacking up, getting on the brakes.
Ryan
So you see a
Barber
truck
off.
in the grass. Yep, Ryan Barber out in the grass here, getting back on the track. Seems to have cost him a spot. So you see him right behind Ruben Phelps going down into the keyhole, one of the hardest braking zones on this track. You're braking and turning coming through the left there. And then you have to resettle going back in the right. It just seems like he got on it a little too hard, slid the rear a little bit and out into the grass. Cost him a spot, but pretty inconsequential here early in this race.
Yeah, and that's lucky because when you go off in that section of the track, usually you just slide on the grass into the wall. It's always a lucky escape if you can avoid dumping it into the tire barriers through the carousel.
Just one of those spots out there where that wall is not far away from that track, and it will suck you into it. As we see Brad and Andy still battling here for this lead. Brad has not gotten away from Andy here. They're only on lap 2, but Brad might have wanted a little bit of a gap here, and he doesn't seem to have much. About half a second over Andy. Coming up here through Thunder Valley. Nice and smooth coming down the hill into the keyhole. Just trying to keep that truck on track, be nice and smooth. That is what it takes to get around Mid-Ohio in a fast manner here. But looks slow is fast. You can see he is very precise and directive with that car. As we check out Brenton Henderson, he's going to be trying to make a move here on Brian Blundell. That's going to be for the 7th position. Both these guys in the top 10 are here early. Down to turn 1, he's still just a little bit too far behind them to make a move. Maybe he can get the run here out of the turn. Doesn't seem to have it. He's just going to have to play nice for now and sit behind him. James, how you feeling here early? You're still in 5th right now, but has the truck got any damage from that earlier incident?
Oh yeah, I got wheel damage on the right front. Steering's a bit cockeyed, but doesn't really feel like it's all that bad. Thankfully, no meatball, which is all I really care about. So
looks pretty good from our view.
Yeah, that's good aerodynamic wise, but yeah, some of the right hand corners, like the middle of the S right there, is a bit difficult here too.
Well, we'll leave you to it. You're matching the times of the guys around you, so you're doing a great job out there. James running 5th right now. So
Wounded
check out
Warrior.
The 119. Yeah, the Wounded Ford truck off the track here. That's in Thunder Valley. He's going to go off into the grass. Out behind the curb. He's going to slowly get back on. We saw the 119 of Naughty Tompkins take advantage of that. Pull up ahead as we check out the battle here for 7th. 81 and the 86. These guys have been pretty close together since the start of the race. Ruben Phelps starting to make a move here on Tom Pritchard. That's going to be for 3rd. All these guys have recently ran their fastest lap of the race, so their tires are starting to heat up. They're starting to pick up some pace here. The guys out front are still separated by about a second now. It's Andy, Jay, and Ruben matching each other's lap time, so they're all just sitting in line trying to get these tires warmed up, get some laps in before making any crazy moves on each other. Nice and spread out for the moment. But even when you're out here buying yourself, one small mistake can really, really ruin your days. These walls are not far away from these turns. You get this truck sideways, it could be over in a moment.
Yeah, in fact, in the...
Got one truck stop out here. Sorry, James is going to be the Angus Sweeney in the 45. He was stopped out there in turn 5. Let's check that out on the replay. He's coming down the straightaway here. Turn 5 is one of the hardest braking zones on this track. But the fastest you're going is going to be coming into turn 5. And like we saw earlier with Ruben Phelps, locking up the rear tires this time. Angus goes all the way around for a 180. Almost got high centered there on the banking. Was able to get going. Didn't lose a spot. Didn't lose all too much time. Pretty good save there by the 45. As we go back out front, Brad Newman and Andy J. Barber coming down the straightaway here. Andy J's been able to stick with Brad since the start of this race. Brad has not driven off like I had predicted. Tom Pritchard running 3rd, and then there's Ruben Phelps. As we saw from earlier in the race, he had that little bit of an incident on lap 1, but he has rebounded, and he is up and running in the 4th position. James Watson in 5th, and here's Ryan Barber in 6th. As we scroll through the field here, you're going to see the gaps all the way through it. Pretty cool shot as they all come down to turn 5. So we got Lachlan Urquio making a move for 7th here. He's going to be trying to get around that 86 of Brian Blundell. We come back on the replay. Mark Grocott coming down to turn 2. He seems to have lost a lot of time, so we're going to check this out on the replay here. Maybe just getting it loose back on the throttle. Yeah, we're going to go back live here as Lachlan Urquio trying to make the move on Brian Blundell. It's going to be through Thunder Valley. He was involved in that first lap incident, kind of on the comeback trail. He makes the move going into Thunder Valley. It's a really good move coming offline there. Getting Brian looking in his mirrors, moves him out of the way mentally, not with the truck, just getting him offline in your mirrors. Last time around, Brad with the
We call
ahead,
that the
James.
mine punt.
Yeah, the mine punt. It's a favorite move of mine at Martinsville. Peeking out, letting the guy blow the corner. That's kind of what happened there. Brad
For
Newman set the
Martinsville,
fastest
I
lap.
prefer the actual punt, but that's just me.
That's how it goes sometimes. Brad ran the fastest lap last time around, 26.2. It's a whole second faster than Andy J. You might be in the moment where we're going to be seeing Brad start to put a little bit of a gap on Andy. But by golly, that 5 truck's going to try as we see someone on pit road here. It's the 777 of Kelvin Clark coming down to make a pit stop. Maybe he was a little bit short on gas mileage here. Decided to make that pit stop early. Truck looks pretty clean. He was just pretty far back. Oh, he said sayonara.
Yeah. I think Kobe said he had a black flag, so I think that's why.
Got more than that now. He's out of the truck.
Yeah.
He got a phone call or something. So we come back up front with Brad. How's the fuel looking for you, James?
Closer than you think.
It's good to hear. Might be in a little bit of a fuel mileage race. As Ruben Phelps makes a move side by side. Tom Pritchard, this is going to be for 3rd spot. And slowly chipping away at that 6 truck. He was finally close enough to make a move. Coming down to turn 5, it's going to be a new 3rd place truck here with Ruben Phelps. But Tom's not done yet. He's going to come diving back down on the inside. Makes the move back. Does not want to give up the spot. Staunch defense here by Tom Pritchard. He runs a little bit wide coming through 6. Ruben's going to have to sit behind him for now. Ruben got around him on the exit. Tom said no. Got the move back done going into turn 5. That is some masterful road course driving there by Tom Pritchard. Impressive move. Get around our defending champion. Oh, he slips up a little bit going into the keyhole. Ruben's going to go into the grass. Almost into the wall. Keeps it off the wall. But he is going to lose a lot of time to Tom Pritchard. He might not be too happy. Seems like Ruben was side by side with Tom. We're going to have to get a replay of that. Maybe Tom got a little bit loose. Kind of incidentally knocked Ruben off the track. Seems like he might have spun his tires there just a little bit when they were side by side. Messed up just a tiny little bit there on the brakes. Ruben kind of goes in there hot. Kind of runs in the back of him. Wasn't expecting Tom to check up that hard after he missed the apex. Kind of a 50-50 road course deal there. Can't really blame anybody for that as we come back to Lachlan Urquio on the comeback trail. Trying to make a move here on Ryan Barber. We saw Barber take that high line through turn 2. That works sometimes in these heavier stock cars. Especially in a corner like turn 2 leading into a long straightaway like this. You want to get back in the gas. You saw Ryan was able to pull away on the straightaway. Coming into turn 5, Lachlan's going to have to settle and sit back behind him. This is going to be for 6th spot. Very, very tight racing here. 8 laps into this race. We got a truck off into the dirt. Marker Grow cut. That's going to be out in turn 1. We get a replay here going down past the start-finish line. Seems like he just missed the turn there and went straight off. Did a great job keeping it off the wall, keeping that nose clean. Could have been a lot worse. Running back there in the 13th spot. As we come back to that battle for 6th. Lachlan Urquio still all over Ryan J. Barber's bumper. Gonna have to figure out how am I gonna make a move. Right now you're just scanning the guy in front of you, seeing where he is off, seeing where you are faster than him, where you can take advantage, where you can pounce. That's what's going through Lachlan's mind right now, planning that move. That's a big part of road course racing, unlike ovals. Sometimes with ovals, the moves just happen by themselves, the moves take place. But on road course racing, you have to almost make the move yourself. You have to manifest it.
Yes and no. I think it happens at any track where there's heavy braking. Like, you absolutely have times where like Martinsville or Bristol or Richmond where you're watching and trying to set them up, look for their weaknesses and
Ryan Barber got a little sideways. Sorry, James. It got pretty hot here for 6.
Oh, and it's
These
still
guys
heating
making
up.
a little bit more contact coming in through Thunder Valley into the keyhole here. We just saw an incident here a couple laps ago. Ryan's going to get a little tight. They're both going to get off in the grass, and it's going to really hurt Lachlan. Lachlan's going to go further out. Ryan was able to get back on pretty quick. And they both went off there for a little bit of a safari out in that grass. Battle for 6 heating up. I don't think this is over just yet. It's good for you, James. You're able to pull out a little bit on these guys. You want these guys beating and banging. I already know. That is what they are doing. And I don't think it is done yet. Both these guys seem a little hot under the collar, judging by their tone of voice.
You can say that again.
For sure. It is not over. A little bit of a business decision there by a 05 truck. It's going to let the 42 by before there is another issue. Lick his wounds and come home in 7th. It's going to sit behind him for now. Maybe come back at him later in the race. I think he recognized that the 42 was faster, was smarter about it. Knew maybe that Lachlan was a little upset over that last incident. Said you can have that 6th place before we wreck each other doing it. Battle for 3rd is definitely still heating up here. Tom Pritchard has been able to hold off Ruben Phelps. But Ruben's now close enough to where he could possibly make a move, and as I say that, gets a little bit loose and loses a little bit of ground, but he's coming all over. He's coming back. Into the braking zone, seems like he makes up a lot of time. I'm sure James might want these two guys to get together 2 positions in front of him, give him a shot at closing in that gap.
Absolutely.
How's the truck feeling, buddy? Does it feel a little better?
Not quite.
Let's come back to a replay here of Lachlan and Brian. This is going to be that pass we just saw for 6th spot. We said Ryan might want to just let the 42 by there. Being smart about it, knowing there's a lot more to gain later on in this race. Still 22 laps to go. Not wanting to play with fire while the fire's hot. As we come back to this battle for 3rd podium position here on the line. Ruben Phelps still all over this 6 truck. Trying to make a move. I think we might see one here coming down to turn 2. He is awfully close this time by. If you can get a run out of here through turn 1 as we ride on board with Ruben. Very smart conservative line there. Letting that 6 pave the way. He's pretty close here. He's going to go down to the inside. It's a little bit of a fake. Trying to get that 6 to miss the braking, and he does. He locks up the brakes. Ruben putting the nose to the inside. Trying to get underneath him on the straightaway does not prevail as the 6 truck takes that high line, takes the run that comes with it. We saw that a couple laps ago with that 05 racing with Lachlan. As we can see Ruben coming peeking back down to the inside, trying to bait that 6 truck into another mistake. It does not work. And Tom Pritchard holds that 3rd spot for another day. Coming up through the keyhole now. Pass right here. That's Brenton Henderson making a move for 8th position on Brian Blundell. We saw these guys battling for most of the race. Seems like Brenton has finally got the move done, and so does Ruben. With a move around the outside of Tom Pritchard going into the keyhole. Got to get a replay of that, producer, because that looked like one hell of a move to be making in that position. Something had to set that up. And you are right, Ruben is coming. It seems like Tom just got a little bit wide, missed that apex there going over the hill in Thunder Valley. And they race side by side into the braking zone. And Ruben was able to take that high line, roll the truck around the outside, stayed side by side with Tom going into the keyhole and was able to get the spot. What a pass by that 06. It seems like we had a little bit of an issue here with that 119. That's Noddy Tompkins. Ooh, coming up over the hill. Just loses the front end. Locks the brakes up and lives for another day. Was able to keep the truck clean and keep moving. That is key to racing on these road courses. You can make those mistakes, but if you don't hit nothing, you can still live to see another race, see another lap, see another position. As we saw Ruben take over that third spot here, that 06 truck, one of the best drivers in this series, former champion. Making his presence known, coming back from that first lap incident. Has passed 3 or 4 trucks out there on raw pace and has moved himself into the podium spot. Coming back around, we're going to have 20 laps to go this time by. Thinking now might be a good time to get some ads in, as this field's pretty spread out at the moment. And we're going to come back here to Mid-Ohio after we get a couple of our partners say a word, and we'll be back with our top Truck Series race here.
Here at TWRS, we're always here to help our squad when they need a little push in the right direction. That's just who we are. We're a beautifully diverse group of goofballs dedicated to driving fake race cars as fast as possible. And we continue to push each other to the front using the power of nonsense. We have one of the strongest NASCAR programs on the service, and you can access it all for $24.99 a month. And we just released individual subscriptions for $14.99 a month for each NASCAR vehicle. We also just added a Rallycross program, and our IndyCar program is taking off as well. So come join the weird side. We have speed and cookies. Cookies are not included in some locations.
Welcome back to Mid-Ohio. 18 laps to go here from our 2.2.5 mile. I said that a little weird. 2.25 mile racetrack. You saw Ryan Barber make a pit stop here under our last commercial break for 4 tires and fuel, and that is a little bit of a development here in this race. Fuel tends to be tight for this 33 laps. It's going to be a little bit of a question as which some of these guys have been saving fuel, trying to make it to the end, and which guys are going to have to make a pit stop. We saw this 05 already cut his losses and make the pit stop, and he's all over that 86. Gets a little sideways, but is able to get the job done. Those tires are still pretty cold in that 05 truck. He just came off pit road, but you see the speed that the new tires are giving him. as he's able to just make quick work of that 86. And that's a truck we've seen people struggle to pass. So that is the development right now. That is the situation. Who is going to have to make a pit stop? Who's going to make it on fuel? Kind of up in the air right now. Some of these leaders are going to get into a little bit of lap traffic here. And that's also going to cost the leaders some time.
Yeah, the tire wear is... I've had worse, but I've certainly had better. And this is the thing, and this is what makes road course racing in a stock car so much fun, is that tire wear is such a problem. Not necessarily just from pure percentage wear, but heat as well. Because when you bring it onto pit road after a full fuel stint, you'll see the tires aren't that bad wear-wise. Like, you'll get way more like a mile and a half than you do here. But the problem is that you heat them to such ridiculous degrees, you know, and that's where you really lose your grip, is overheating the tires from, you know, braking and especially locking up just a little bit, and on corner exit just not being conscientious with your throttle enough.
These vehicles are so heavy, those tires are working overtime, stopping all that weight and moving all that weight side to side. As we see Ryan Barber still kind of struggling with these cold tires. Come to a replay here. That's Mark Grocott in the 73. Been a rough race for him. It's Ryan Barber now. We see him get a little bit sideways coming through the keyhole. Those are the cold tires. Oh, he's going to really get sideways and spin out into the final corner of this track, as we saw a little bit earlier with Lachlan Urquio. Kind of a deja vu moment for him. Another replay here. This is going to be the 45 coming down to turn 5. He spun out here earlier in the race. I think he's going to go for 2 when it comes to trips in the grass. He gets one wheel off in the grass as he was letting James Watson by. And we go back to Mark Grocott here. Coming into the keyhole. This has been calamity corner so far today. Seems to be pretty slow out there. I think the computer's picking it up as an incident just because of his pace right now at the moment. See, I have a truck on pit road. That's going to be that 42. Lachlan Urquio making his pit stop, so it's another one of our trucks up front. Decided to make a pit stop instead of going to the end on a full tank. He's going to come off pit road here right in front of that 81 of Brenton Henderson. Going to have a little bit of a gap over the 05 there as well of Ryan Barber, the truck he was racing with earlier. So it seems that spin might have cost Ryan position there on Lachlan. Without that little trip in the grass, he might have been able to race him here as he came off pit road. But that 42 truck with gas now and tires now definitely to make it to the end. We're going to see if that pays off for him on his quest to catch James in that 39 truck. Oh, spin right there. That's going to be the cold tires of Lachlan Urquio. We've seen it kind of be a little bit of a problem for these guys who have made the pit stop. And by that I mean Brian Barber. When he came out on those cold tires, he definitely struggled, and it seems to be all the same for that 42. It's the 4th place truck. Tom Pritchard comes down on pit road. James Watson's going to be watching this to see if he comes out behind that 39 truck. And he will by a long mile as James coming through the keyhole now. Coming through turn 1 now. Tom Pritchard just now exiting pit road, getting onto the racetrack. So that Tom's going to have a little bit to go if he's going to want to catch James. That's if James is staying out. We'll have to see. Come back to our leader, Brad Newman. Still has yet to make a pit stop. He's going to be coming to the line now for 14 laps to go. And what are you thinking, James? If you are going to pit, you probably should have already pitted or planning to pit here awfully soon, as we are past halfway.
Yeah, I'm not sure what I should do. Should I let the folks at home know what I'm looking to do, or do I keep them in suspense? Dun dun dun. Will
Well, I
I
think
make
you ought to
it?
keep
I
them in
don't know.
suspense. Yeah, I think you ought to keep them in suspense, just because we got, our competitors could be listening in. I'm your crew chief, like I said earlier, man. You can't be letting go our strategy. It's our strategy. I'm the crew chief.
It's a mystery.
One of the mysteries of life is, does James Watson pit or not? Check out our second place truck there, Andy J. Haven't really talked about him much tonight after the start of the race. But he's done a great job, as we see Angus Sweeney on pit road. He was running a lap down in 12th, but it's still in a pretty heavy battle there with some of the trucks around him for a top 10 spot. See Lachlan here making a move on that 81. 81 on the older tires, just moves over to the side, lets Lachlan by. That's going to be for the 6th spot. I'm sure the 42 truck appreciates that. Lachlan been the fastest truck on track here by about 2 seconds over the whole rest of the field with these newer tires. Really putting in some good laps now after that little bit of a spin on the cold ones. But he's starting to make his way back up in contention to possibly get a couple more spots out of this race. Got to put in those good laps now while the tires are still new. Make up some time in case they do pit. Nice and smooth. Look, 42 truck looks pretty good right now. I'm sure it feels a whole lot better with those new tires. Sometimes, you could be out here your whole first run learning the track, burning up your stuff, and you come down for some new tires. While you get back out there with that fresh rubber, you feel like Superman. You feel like Max Verstappen. You're out there hitting all the apexes, running all the fast laps.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Especially in a stock car, because you really have to change how you drive on a road course as the race goes on. That's the biggest difficulty, is that trying to understand that you have to back up your braking markers as the race goes on, because like I was talking about earlier with the overheating, the more your fronts get worn, the more it affects your braking. Your braking performance in a stock car on a road course is heavily based on your tire life. So if those fronts are worn, then you are not going to be able to brake as late and as consistently as you can with a brand new fresh set. You just, not only do you go faster because you have more overall grip, like through the corners and apexes and whatnot, but you can also brake later, and that cuts off so much time.
Some good insight there by James Watson. He's out there on the track right now running in 4th spot. Was able to take away that 4th spot when Tom Pritchard came down and made a pit stop, but Pritchard is closing back in with those new tires. He's 18 seconds back, which is quite a big gap, but Pritchard's all putting in some really, really good lap times in with that fresh rubber. It's going to be awfully close if you can get to the bumper of James for that 4th spot. You see the lap times here. One truck out there on new tires still running fast laps is your leader, Brad Newman. He's still the 2nd fastest truck on track, even with his old tires. 23 laps old. Still out there putting in 27.4 last time around. See the positions gained here. A big mover of the race, Brenton Henderson, that 81 truck in 7th spot. Big loser of the race so far has been Lachlan Urquio. He's lost 2 spots after that lap 1 incident he was caught up in. But it's been a great rebound by that 42 truck, as well as Ruben Phelps, who's also involved in that. we won't talk about James' involvement in that crash. As we see the 42 car coming around with those new tires, really putting in some lap times now as well. As those tires are starting to warm up, he's going to be coming around to 11 laps to go for himself. Still a long way to go. He still has a shot at gaining a couple positions here, as he is also closing in on James Watson in that 39 truck. Saw Ruben Phelps getting by the lap truck there. Tim Blundell, sorry. Great run going here by that 81 truck. Really don't see him up front very often. If you check out a replay here of Ryan Barber coming into the keyhole. Seems to get a little loose every time coming through that left-hander. Really driving that truck. Oh, we had a truck off in the grass. That's that 81. We were just talking about a great run for him going. Seems to have lost a position to Ryan, as he went out and made a mistake here in that final corner. We've seen that eat up a bunch of trucks so far tonight. I think I can count 6 or 7 times we've had somebody out in that grass. Definitely been calamity corner tonight. One truck I haven't seen out there is that 39.
Oh, it almost happened when Ryan went off in the carousel on lap 1. I almost followed him. I just barely managed to get it woed up like right at the edge of the pavement. Otherwise, yeah, I was following him out to no man's land there.
Well, there's still 10 laps to go. Still plenty of time to make dreams come true. And with that being said, 10 laps to go, I think we're going to go away for our final commercial break, and we will be back with the final laps here to Mid-Ohio.
If you love the thrill of racing but hate the risks, then buckle up. Everything Simulated is here to merge adrenaline with absolute safety. In a world where technology meets adrenaline, Everything Simulated is revolutionizing driver training with state-of-the-art simulators. From truck training to the thrill of motorsports, our simulators offer the most realistic experiences across all automotive applications. Gone are the days of endless bookwork and basic drills. Now it's all about hands-on, pulse-pounding action that prepares you for the real deal. Whether you're maneuvering a heavy mining vehicle or racing a high-speed car, our simulators, equipped with cutting-edge technology from leaders like SimRigs and TrackRacer, bring every nuance of the drive to life. And talk about making a mark. We're not just building simulators, we're fostering talent. From grassroots motorsports to professional series like the Aussie Outlaw GT3, sponsored by us, everything simulated is fueling dreams and careers. Ready to feel the excitement of the racetrack under your fingertips? Connect with us, and let's build your next simulator adventure together. Remember, we support those who support us. Join the Everything Simulated family, and let's race towards the future.
Welcome back to Mid-Ohio. 7 laps to go here. Brad Newman, still your leader. He's putting in some work tonight on your field. Got a 14-second gap over Andy J. Barber. He was 3 seconds quicker last time around, really stretching that gap over the last couple laps here. Putting in some masterful times on his old tires. Trying to put that 05 truck a lap down. He might have some issues here putting down Andy's teammate and his son, Ryan Barber, a lap down. Maybe Ryan playing a little bit of a game, trying to stick in front of him. As Ryan goes for a spin, he's out in the dirt. We see that. Locked up the rears there, just like Ruben Phelps. We'll get that on replay here momentarily. But definitely what Brad wanted to see.
Yeah. I heard him go, wee, and then I looked down and see, oh, there he is. Okay.
Yeah, it was Ryan Barber last time around. So we see it right here going down into turn 5. Just locked up the rears a little bit like Ruben did earlier and like Angus did earlier. Goes for a little bit of a slide. It's not the first time we've seen that 05 in the grass tonight. Been a little bit of a rough race for our defending winner. Came home last week in Daytona, but he's definitely had an excursion of a race here tonight.
Yeah, and the little Barber went wee all the way off.
That's how it goes sometimes, you know. Can't win them all. That's a little demeaning there.
Ryan is absolutely gonna crash me the next time I race, and it will be 100% deserved.
I will too. I want to make you interview him next time. 6 laps to go here for Brad Newman. Fuel has still been a little bit of a question mark. Some of these guys might be tight on it. We could be seeing some last-minute pit stops. But as for right now, your top 4 is yet to make a stop. Ruben Phelps running P3. Been on a little bit of a comeback trail tonight. Had an incident on lap 1. And has really turned his race around to really close in on some of these fellows in front of him. Made some great moves and has worked himself up to a podium spot. He is hoping to get interviewed after this race. We interview the top 3, and he's hoping for it. And he's, got a little bit sideways there going into turn 5. Almost went out into the grass. Keeps all 4 on the black stuff, and that's what matters. Here's our second place truck. Andy Barber finished second last week, going for 2 in a row. It's got to be getting old for him running P2. You see him coming now through the very last turn. He's going to be coming to the line with 5 to go. He's done a great job for 28 laps keeping it on the track. Knowing there's only 5 laps to go with these old tires, he's going to be counting down the corners. He's still about 18 seconds behind Brad Newman. He's kind of lost touch with him after about 4 or 5 laps. But he hasn't overdriven the truck to keep up with him. He's raced his own race, run his own pace, and still running second in a great spot. That's what you need to do on these road courses. You can't overdrive your equipment and overdrive your skill set to try to stick with some of these guys who are quicker. There's always going to be someone quicker than you at a road course sometimes.
Yeah, and saving your stuff, like I mentioned earlier, like road courses are the absolute cheap place that you want to do it. Because it's so easy to just demolish the rubber. And, at some tracks, demolish the car itself. And I'm not even just stuffing it into the wall. Like, the curbs can also play a factor. Thankfully, the curbs here are pretty soft and pretty low. But
Oh,
like
big
a
news
couple
here. Andy J. Barber coming down on pit road. Sorry, James. But you couldn't
interesting.
see it. Yep, he's coming down for some fuel here with 4 laps to go. Jeez, 4 laps to go.
Don't
That
tell
is
yeah, don't tell me
surprising.
it's 4 laps to go.
Yeah, 4 laps to
mean,
go here. As Ruben's going to go around him, and that's going to be for the second position. Where does that 5 truck come out? He took fuel only there, so he won't have the fresh tires to get on after Ruben. He's going to have to do it on pure race pace alone as James Watson trying to close in for 3rd. But he's going to have to settle for 4th position at the moment as he's going to try to close in on Andy. That is surprising. I thought for sure all these guys who had not pitted would be good to go to the end. So Andy being a little short on fuel seems like it might have caught him out, because if he had to pit, he probably would have wanted to pit earlier for some tires. Check out a replay here. It's the 4 truck of Tim Blundell coming through turn 1. Just a little too much of that inside curb. Gets it a little sideways. Brings it back out onto the grass to keep it going, but he's going to be able to live for another day.
Yeah, you know, I was saying that the curbs here are pretty soft and easy. Yeah, except that one. That one can stuff it.
Yeah,
It's
that
like
turn 1 inside curb is deadly.
it's a mile high, and then it's also difficult because like right at the edge of it, it has a little bit that sticks out, so you kind of clip it, and sometimes it upsets your car when you feel like it shouldn't be there, because you're like you feel like it should still curve out more, and then you clip that little edge and you're like, oh, come on.
The gap right now between 2nd and 3rd, Ruben Phelps and Andy J, is 7 seconds. Cross the line with 3 to go. That is a tall task for Andy J to reel in that much time, especially on the older tires. Did not take tires on his pit stop. But it's not over till it's over, as Ruben Phelps has a little bit of a mess in front of him with some of these lap trucks. That's going to be the 86 of Brian Blundell in front of him. Brian running in 8th spot. Good race for him tonight. He's kept it on the track for the most part. He's raced his race, and he's going to bring it home in the top 10, all things considered. But right now, he's in front of Ruben Phelps, taking away that clean air. Might be costing Ruben some time, but Ruben's got time to give. It's almost 6 seconds now back to Andy Barber. But we know Andy J is not going to give up. He is still going to fight and try to get that 2nd place spot.
Yeah, I wonder if Rubens is starting to go into some hardcore fuel save, because me and Andy have caught him by a decent amount this last lap.
Either the fuel save or the lap truck being in front of him, he had to follow that 86 around for half a lap. Truck running a complete different pace, that might have cost him some time there. But Ruben's going to get back on that horse. He's around the 86 now, and now it's a problem for the guys behind him. So maybe when the guys behind him get to that 86, he holds them up, and they are about to get into a battle themselves. The 81 and 86 are only 2 seconds apart. They're racing for 8th spot. So not only do we have a battle for 2nd here, we have a battle for 8th, as that 81 plays the polite move and lets Andy J by to the inside. Gonna try to stick in behind him, follow him around, get some fast laps in, and close in on an 86. The 86 has not pitted while the 81 has, so he's got some fresher tires on him as well right now. As Brad Newman comes around to collect the white flag here, one more lap to go in Mid-Ohio. He's got 34 seconds over Ruben Phelps in 2nd. That is a long way. He can just about walk this last lap around. Hit his marks and be smooth. He will come home a winner. One more lap to go, though, here. We're going to see some hot battles throughout the rest of this pack. Some of these guys know there's only going to be 2 miles to make a move to get that last spot. Can they make it on fuel as well? That is a question mark for a lot of these guys. Into turn 5 one final time. Easy on the brakes, easy on the shifting. Hitting his marks, doing what needs to be done, just like the 32 laps before. Brad Newman has dominated this race. Made a big statement in qualifying. Qualified a whole second and then some faster than second, third, and fourth. The whole field. He let it be known then he was going to be the guy they had to mess with, and nobody was able to mess with him tonight. Drove away from the start, was able to save enough gas to make it, and comes home a winner. A dominating race here from your points leader, Brad Newman, as he comes through the final turn. Checkered flag is out. Brad Newman, your winner here at Mid-Ohio in dominating fashion. But we still got a race for second on the track. Ruben Phelps, a couple corners away, coming back from a first lap incident, was running third for most of the second half of this race, but was able to steal the second spot away from Andy J, who had to make a late pit stop. Big consequential move there, but that's going to gain him a couple extra points in his quest for another championship. Coming off of turn 4, he's going to come home in second spot, and not far behind him is Andy J. Barber to take home a third position. And running fourth, our man up here in the booth, James Watson's going to come around the final turn and bring it home in fourth spot, a top 5 for James Watson. Great job, buddy. How you feeling? I'm sure you're pretty tired after that.
Oh yeah, I'm pretty pumped though. That is 3 for 3 for broadcaster top 5s. So I'm happy to bring home another solid result while flapping my gums.
Great job, buddies. We saw Tom Pritchard come across for 5th, Lachlan coming across for 6th. We run through the top 10 here. Your winner tonight, the 33, Brad Newman, leading every lap from the green flag, comes home P1, 35 seconds ahead of Ruben Phelps in second. Andy Barber is going to be in third, James Watson in fourth, Tom Pritchard 5th, Lachlan Urquio 6th, Ryan Barber 1 lap down in 7th, Brian Blundell is able to hold off that 81 truck for 8th and 9th, and then Tim Blundell is going to come home 10th. Noddy Tompkins survives for 11th place finish. Angus Sweeney, a couple off tracks here tonight, comes home in 12th. Mark Grocott is able to finish in 13th spot, and Kelvin Clark had some issues earlier in the race. He's going to bring it home in 14th. We're going to step away here and get one last commercial break in, and we'll be back with our interviews here from Mid-Ohio.
Here at TWRS, we're always here to help our squad when they need a little push in the right direction. That's just who we are. We're a beautifully diverse group of goofballs dedicated to driving fake race cars as fast as possible. And we continue to push each other to the front using the power of nonsense. We have one of the strongest NASCAR programs on the service, and you can access it all for $24.99 a month. And we just released individual subscriptions for $14.99 a month for each NASCAR vehicle. We also just added a Rallycross program, and our IndyCar program is taking off as well. So come join the weird side. We have speed and cookies. Cookies are not included in some locations.
Ladies and gentlemen, ready for countdown. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, ignition.
This is some of the greatest stuff I've ever heard. Ooh.
These go to 11.
If you love the thrill of racing but hate the risks, then buckle up. Everything Simulated is here to merge adrenaline with absolute safety. In a world where technology meets adrenaline, Everything Simulated is revolutionizing driver training with state-of-the-art simulators. From truck training to the thrill of motorsports, our simulators offer the most realistic experiences across all automotive applications. Gone are the days of endless bookwork and basic drills. Now it's all about hands-on, pulse-pounding action that prepares you for the real deal. Whether you're maneuvering a heavy mining vehicle or racing a high-speed car, our simulators, equipped with cutting-edge technology from leaders like SimRigs and TrackRacer, bring every nuance of the drive to life. And talk about making a mark. We're not just building simulators, we're fostering talent. From grassroots motorsports to professional series like the Aussie Outlaw GT3, sponsored by us, Everything Simulated is fueling dreams and careers. Ready to feel the excitement of the racetrack under your fingertips? Connect with us, and let's build your next simulator adventure together. Remember, we support those who support us. Join the Everything Simulated family, and let's race towards the future.
Welcome back to Mid-Ohio here. After we saw a great Southern Thunder Truck Series race, I am here with your P3 finisher, Andy J. Barber. Andy J., you got a copy, buddy? How you doing, man? How was the truck tonight? You did a great job keeping it on the pavement. Was it pretty treacherous out there? How did you deal with these conditions?
Just trying to read the track, but put it on the concrete. Yeah, I think late in that, around about 10 or 11 laps in, I had a bit of a lock-up and got a little bit distracted by the team chat and went off a little bit and lost a bit of time. I tried to stick, but I feel I was kind of just, cruising there anyway, and probably in hindsight saving that fuel that I probably needed at the end of the race.
Yeah, we saw you make that pit stop there with about 6 laps to go. Did you plan on making that leading up in there, or did you kind of get caught off guard there with that fuel mileage being short?
Too early? Is that better?
Yeah, we can hear you now.
No worries. Yeah, I think I went a little bit too hard too early, and it kind of bit me in the end, and got towards the end of the stint, and I was around about half a lap short, and I didn't want to run around and run out half a lap from the end, so I thought, do I come in and get a splash and go for it, or do I try and save? Because I had around about 12 seconds back to Ruben, and I thought, nah, bugger it, I'll come in and I'll splash and I'll see what I got at the end. And Yeah, just unfortunately, I think the two boys in front did a better job at fuel saving than I did, and I paid the price for it.
And we all live and learn, man, but you still came home a third place finisher tonight, an awesome run out of that 5 truck. Would you like to shout out anybody for your third place run? Sorry.
Yeah, absolutely. No, happy with polishing a turd tonight, but no shout out to the podium. Ruben did a great job, and Brad, I kind of learned a little bit for the first 10 laps sitting behind him, so it was good to have a bit of a learning lesson there. Shout out to you guys for the broadcast, the inside lane, you guys getting up early to do the broadcast over there, so props to you guys. And just the Southern Stars boys, Tom, myself, D-Mac, Adzi Jr., and sponsors 7-Eleven, RBI Trading Cards, Sydney Pool Servicing, Slack Street Carbies, and just shout out to Mike and Rose.
Well, incredible job tonight. We'll have to catch you up here next week. I'm going to send it over to James with our second place finisher, Ruben Phelps. Gotta move.
Yeah, there he is. Ruben, James up in the booth. You got a copy?
Sure do. How's it going?
Going good. Well, it was a pretty eventful race. First of all, we saw you have a little bit of issue there into turn 1. What happened?
So I obviously got into the braking zones and I short shift in very early on the second, which obviously spun up the rear tyres, so it went for a slide and I went to catch it, and of course I had to use the brakes to do that, and obviously slowed me right up in the centre of the track, and of course everybody else couldn't avoid it and everybody concertinaed behind me, and yeah.
Yeah, it was a pretty harrowing incident, but that was a heck of a job by you to get the truck back going without really losing all that much time. And we saw you having a pretty spirited scrap with Tom there when you were making the big comeback up the field. Take us through the battle.
Oh, it was fun, but that one moment where I think we were coming at the second to last corner there. He went into that corner really slow to what I was expecting, and obviously went straight in there. We made contact, and then I hit the grass and went off the track. But oh my goodness, it scared me because I saw the bloody tyre barrier pretty quickly.
Yeah, and you did well to avoid the bad end on that too, but you did a fantastic job on fuel saving. How early did you start fuel saving?
I think basically once I got past Tom, like I was just sort of looking at it, I was thinking, okay, we're at 12, or was it, I think it was like 18 laps to go at this point, and then it was like 17.2, so I just sort of managed it and looked at it, and I think I was like 0.002 fuel save each lap. So once I started getting past the line and saw it was like, say, it was actually like 3.9 with 4 laps to go, I knew I sort of could manage it from there. And as soon as I got to turn 1 after the checkered flag, it coughed on me. So that's how much I had left.
Yeah, that was a fantastic job to switch up the strategy mid-race and be able to stretch it out enough. Like, I started fuel saving from the very get-go and had like 0.2 remaining, so remarkable job on fuel save.
Yeah. It's just like a matter of because once I got to race myself and just had to do my own thing and run my own laps, that was easier to manage it because you can just roll into the corner, short shift a wee bit, and then you can manage it. But when you're racing people, you're most likely to put the foot down on the gas a bit early and burn all the fuel up in the in the lower gear to try and get past somebody, and people just sort of bit the bullet and pitted anyway, but sort of like I said, once you're driving by yourself, you can sort of watch what you're doing and concentrate on what you're doing, lines and all.
Yeah, because caveman brain, we see a car close, we have to, it's like, oh, see car, hit gas. Yeah, incredible job, Knight. Any sponsors, plugs, and shoutouts you'd like to give?
Of course, you guys are putting the broadcast on. Of course, you, James, for your sponsor, TWRS. Of course, SRM Australia. Lockie and Brenton was here tonight. Maddie had been called, was working tonight, so he couldn't make it. Of course, Scotch's Race Fuel, Cut Sip Sticker Co., Moondog, and our two charities of TS Trucks Australia and Australia Pisha.
Alrighty, well, we appreciate you, Ruben, and hopefully we're talking to you again next week.
Thanks.
Alrighty, I am here tonight with your big winner in dominating fashion, Brad Newman. Brad, you got a copy, buddy?
Hey, boys.
How you doing, man? You great job tonight. Led from the start to the end, green to checkered. Was there any point tonight you felt somebody in this field had anything for you, or did you think you had it locked up all the way?
Well, I wasn't sure if it was a fuel save or like a one-stop race. So I sort of just started fuel saving, looking at the delta, and then hoped that that would be correct, and then just tried to drive to a number after that. So once I saw that the fuel number was achievable, I wasn't too worried, just focused on hitting that number every lap.
How was the conditions out there tonight? We saw you putting in some fast lap times later in the run, but I feel like it was pretty slick out there, and we saw trucks sliding all over the place. How were you able to manage that and keep it on the pavement for so long, running so fast?
Running the slightly slower pace, cruising into the corners while fuel saving, it sort of helps with the tire temperature. But if you went offline, there was a lot of mess on the track. There was stuff everywhere. I kept getting the debris flag popping up. There was stuff everywhere. So yeah, it was pretty slippery offline.
We definitely saw lots of people have their incidents tonight, but you were not one of them. You were our big winner tonight. Anybody you want to give a shout out to for your P1 finish after dominating fashion?
Just as you guys, as always, for putting these events on, and the guys at Lobs Esports. Thank you.
Congratulations, man. That was our big winner tonight, Brad M. Newman in his 33 truck. And that is going to wrap up our coverage here from Mid-Ohio Sports Car Race. James, great job tonight. Any closing thoughts?
Yeah, it was a pretty good race for a road course, all things considered. You know, we got some spread, but we still got a lot of good battles up and down the field. A whole lot that was able to keep us entertained for the 33 laps. And, you know, you can always appreciate it because you know how hard they're pushing out there, trying to just keep the truck on the track. Lord knows I know about how hard they're pushing out there.
Most definitely, man. You guys definitely put on a show. Great job with your 4th place finish. If you want to join the league, hit up the number you just saw on the screen. Check out our YouTube, our Facebook, our Discord. Special thanks to our sponsors, Scotcher Race Fuels, TWRS, Everything Simulated, Doogie Mobile, Fall In, 131 Web Radio. Been a pleasure here tonight. Next week, check out the Truck Series race at Worldwide Technology Raceway, also known as Gateway. A tough and technical track. Going to have a great race for you next week. Take it easy, everybody. Have a great night. Thank you for tuning in here from Mid-Ohio.